5678, a moderator on Discord server FileMaker Training. Here is the Discord link. Come and join us.
Hello, everyone. Richard Carlton here with another awesome FileMaker Friday. We have a bunch of people here. Hopefully, they're still here. Are you other people still here? Nick Hunter, are you there?
I'm here.
Nick Hunter is there. Very, very excited. We're going to see how that new revised version of the video works out. So very cool. So we are welcome to fmtrain.tv, where we broadcast in high definition, not just to Discord. Everyone on Discord. We broadcast to Discord, YouTube, and Twitch. In fact, most of the viewers are on YouTube and Twitch. They just tend to be kind of stealthy and they hang out. So welcome everyone. As always, we have today is kind of an experiment. So if the invited guests here if they misbehave, this will be like the last time we do this, right? So if Kyle, Jake, Mark, if they track doggy doo-doo on the floor on their shoes into my house, then it's not going to be any good. So we won't do that again. So we have guest talkers today that we're going to have sample files to show, so we're going to ask questions about that. So first off, I want to jump to Mark Johnson. Mark Johnson, are you there?
Yes, sir. Can you
All
hear
right.
me?
Yeah, you're loud and clear, Mark. You want to give us, you have an M1 Mac, and you're playing with FileMaker in there. You want to give us the highs and the lows of your experience thus far? Because everyone's saying, oh my God, it's 2,000% faster. It's so great. It shits gold bars of bricks and latinum and stuff. And so the M1, everyone has to have one. So, of course, that's what Apple says, right? So, Mark, what say you?
Well, I wouldn't say 2,000% faster. I will say just opening up FileMaker, and I actually timed it earlier today, just opening up FileMaker, that when you click the icon to open it up and it comes up with a window to choose with the list of your recent files, took about 5 seconds to open up FileMaker and get to that window. And it took about 6 seconds from the time I double-clicked on one of my recent files for it to open, go through the startup script, opens up a couple of other databases behind the scenes with it. It took about 6 seconds to fully open that, to the time I double-clicked to open it, to the time it was ready for me to go through my workday with it.
Okay, so let me ask a question. So you're giving us times, but we don't have the reference time. So is that faster than your previous or slower than your previous?
Yeah, I didn't time my previous one, but I can tell you just from my perspective, yeah, it's probably about 30% faster.
Okay. And now keep in mind, for people asking the question, as of right now, this December 4th of 2020. FileMaker is running under emulation on this chip. So FileMaker has not been optimized for the Apple Silicon, the Apple ARM processor stuff that's in this chip, the M1 chip, right? So,
correct.
Yeah, so that's running under emulation or whatever you want to call that, where the Intel commands are being interpolated and run on the M1 processor. So if it's even running the same speed as it was on the Intel, that bodes well for a future release when they optimize it. Now, my general impression is that it is faster. You're seeing some performance improvement. A lot of the performance bottlenecks of FileMaker actually it's one of two things. Either it's the local machine or it's your network interaction, which is what Nick spends a lot of time here talking about. So if you're on a solution that's on the internet and you have a slow internet connection and you have a poorly designed file that's kind of like very, has a lot of chatty communication and it's very chatty across the internet, then the M1 may not help you that much. It might be noticeable in other things, but your limitation is not your local computer, it's your internet connection and or the design of your FileMaker file. If you want to learn about better design of FileMaker file, stay here on the live streams. Not today so much, but other days. And then we also have the Lean Design course. So before I pivot to that, well, let me just go ahead and do that real quick. So if you go to fmtraining.tv, I want to complete that thought. You can go down here to, you can look at our live training schedule, which is great, which is right here. Upcoming next week is a really awesome packed week. Just definitely be here. We are going to do a ad hoc on-demand session tomorrow. It's not for any of you people. It's for brand new FileMaker people. And so understand that there will be absolutely no conversations beyond, what's the feel, what's the layout, how much does it cost, right? Very basic conversation. But if you go to individual courses, you can see we have all these courses. Normally you purchase one of the bundles, how you support the channel here. But specifically, if you buy our courses, it's built in, it's in the courses, but you can also get to it free here, is a lean design course, which Nick shot partly last year, partly this year. So there's previous year's videos on lean designs, how to make your FileMaker solution go faster. So the M1 chip is useful. Does it solve all your problems? No. Now, if you could put Nick Hunter and an M1 processor together into a chip, call it the N1, Nick 1, then yeah, we could charge, I could charge $10,000 for each processor easy, because people would be like, fix, right? So anyway, so Mark, any last comments about this? Is your thoughts on this device?
Well, I mean, not really. I mean, so far everything seems to be okay. I don't have too many bugs personally. And as far as the M1 itself, my boss had a few, but they seem to kind of reside after doing a few updates and kind of changing things. He still gets a hiccup on the network connection every once in a blue moon, but not as bad as what he used to.
Okay.
So that's probably not going to be something to do with hardware. It's probably going to be something to do with Big Sur.
Yeah, so, yeah, with the operating system being tuned. Yeah, you're the early adopters. You guys are literally, you're the little test rabbits, the little bunnies. So they put shampoo in the eyes of the bunnies to see if the shampoo is safe for humans. And you're the bunny. Yep. Sorry. So here comes the shampoo. Yep. So and so Apple spends a lot of time telling us how much faster it is graphically. But FileMaker is an integer-based application. It's not about graphics. It's about throughput to the hard drive, whatever the hard drive is, your storage drive. And it's throughput, integer-based math. 1 + 1 = 3, stuff like that. It's not this calculus, floating point, fractal kind of math that is in use with graphics and games and Photoshop and artificial intelligence and all this other stuff. Those are all high glitz items, but at the end of the day, when the rubber meets the road, the world is driven by CRMs and integer-based math. And so that's why I'm kind of curious about this. I really am. So, cool. So, Mark, I greatly appreciate your contributions to the channel here today. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. If I can add something here about this M1 and stuff like that. So, historic. I like to go back in the history because then that helps you to understand the present and even the future. So, when Apple introduced this M1 chip, they had to resuscitate from the grave Rosetta.
Rosetta, okay, so, yeah. That's
Rosetta, yeah.
That's the emulation software that fakes the Intel.
Yeah, and Apple is an expert in virtualization of operating system, because they had to do that twice in their history. The first time it was from their 68,000 something to Motorola to the PowerPC. That was the first emulation they had to do. Then they had to do the same from PowerPC to Intel-based processors. That's the number 2. And then now they do it again from Intel processors to M1 silicon, right? So Rosetta is actually I don't know if you will see a difference between Intel-based software running a software written for Intel-based processors on M1. You won't have a kind of a difference of performance. Now, to take advantage of the M1, FileMaker and all other software company in the world will have to recompile their software. Now, something you need to know. It's not because FileMaker is Apple's subsidiary that FileMaker got information about the M1 beforehand, before the other one, before everybody. So they are considered as a third-party software, and they didn't have kind of friendship with people. No, they never do that. That's why they're not ready. Because I heard many people say, "Well, how FileMaker, part of Apple, is not full ready to be recompiled for M1," because they didn't even know about the M1.
we're going to pivot now, Nick, because we got a lot of stuff to do.
No, sure,
and
sure.
so I don't
Yeah,
want to.
yeah.
I don't want to go off in the weeds, and we're now in the weeds. So moving forward, what I want to do is I want to talk to Nick. Can we show your screen, or you want to show your face real quick, briefly here?
Yeah, if I can find a window because I have 200,000 windows. So what do you want? You want my face?
There's your
Hi.
face. Hi, Nick. All right. So we had a request from Ken Tooley, who's one of the folks here. And what happens is when you people out there in the internet, if you send a open tech support question to RCC, if we can answer it reasonably easily, then we do that. But when people send a lot of questions to us, then what we have to do is kind of stack those up and get to them. And normally we save them for Friday because just to put it in context, we don't provide unlimited tech support. Our paying customers, which fund us, which allows me to pay for all this, are the ones that actually fund this broadcast for the most part. And so when people need free tech support, what ends up happening is that they kind of go into queue. We get to it when we can. If we can do it on a Friday broadcast, we do that. I told Ken this on Monday. He sent us a sample file, which Dick is going to show and then answer the question. So it was a tech support question from Ken about containers and exporting and performance, right? Nick, you want to switch to your screen there?
Yeah, I'm going to switch to my screen. So the question, here what Ken wanted to do, he wanted to use my technique of exporting and re-importing data in order to get a natural sort order. In order to get, like here, for example, in order to get the unsorted, the natural sort order to be an order that you desire. I explained that technique last week, how you export the data, you sort the data, you export the data, and then you re-import the data sorted. Okay, so you can watch this video. It's very interesting. So this technique here, but the problem what Ken has is he wanted to export and re-import a table with containers. So that means, let's say you have a big giant files inside your container and you want to use that technique to export and re-import data. That means you need to export the containers and re-import the containers, which makes that can take hours, even days, depending on your database, right? On your data. So the technique here is to have a separated table for all the documents. That means you have one table and you have one container field in that table that is related to whatever other table you want to relate it to. So that means you have one table with one containers, okay, and all your database, all the other tables from your solution are pointing to that table for storing the containers. So why is that great? Okay, obviously it saves the problem to Ken Tooley here, because now it doesn't have to export the containers anymore because they are in another table. And what he needs to export is the ID of the record, and then when he will re-import the records, this ID will reconnect the relationship between the containers table and the data table, right? So that will happen automatically. Yep. So it doesn't need. Okay, so that's the first advantage. Second advantage is that when you have to deal with backup, when you have to deal with backup, you want to back up data. You don't want to back up your what's the name? Your containers. All your file. You want to back up maybe once a week your file or something like that. You don't want to back up every hour, for example, right? So when you have one table where you have all your documents, all your container data inside one table, it's easy to manage. It's easy to go to, you have one container, one table, one container, and you know everything there, right? And it's easier for you even to do some kind of maintenance. Sometimes you want to say, okay, all those documents that they are 5 years old, I want to archive them. So you can archive them, right? And there's another big advantage on this. And then I stop it. And then because we are going to have a session about this, and I'm going to show you. Most of the time, what I'm doing I'm talking about for big, giant solution, okay, with a lot of containers, a lot of documents, okay, picture, PDF, whatever. What I'm doing is there's another file, okay, another FileMaker file that stores those containers, and this file is related to my other files, other FileMaker files. So that I have two files connected together, you know, with their managed external data source, okay. And then you have the container file is completely separate. And if you want to have an optimal performance, and if you want to have optimal kind of security or whatever, I'm putting this file, I'm sharing this file with the container in a different server. I have two servers, one for the solution and one for the containers.
Yeah, I want to, Nick, this is going to cartwheel into a very big conversation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I want to cause a timeout. So Jacob Taylor will be visiting us. We don't normally, I mean, as in contrast to what Nick's saying, because people take stuff out of context frequently and very easily. RCC has one customer or two customers where we've actually set a server up to that degree. It's more of an edge case. What we end up doing is having the containers in a specific separate file on the same server, and then Jacob Taylor is going to show you as part of this live stream how he programs the backups to back up that file differently and less often, right? And so the main data files, which are all the text, are backed up every 15 minutes, 30 minutes, hour. The containers are backed up, I think, once a day. And because it's just much more intensive. If it depends on your use case and your mission statement. If it gets to a point where you actually have such a big solution that you have different files on different servers and they're all together, like in one data center, you got a big file. We're talking many, like 50, 60, 80, 100 gigabytes of data. That's a lot. So once again, most people here won't have anything that big. Ken Tooley was wrestling with about 600 containers here. 600 containers is on the edge. I consider, from my perspective, somewhat trivial. It might seem like a lot to Ken, but as a FileMaker developer, as soon as you have 600 containers, you're in that range between trivial and if it keeps getting bigger than 600, you're going to have to actually actively manage and think about it, right? So,
yeah. And that's another. I agree.
Nick. Yeah, we got to push here. So, what else you got?
Oh yeah, just to say here, for example, see you have, for example, here you have this container, this container, this container. You have multiple containers here for different kind of features. So with the technique of having another table, I'm not talking about another file. Okay, you're right. That is for the extreme case. But and then another table. Okay, if you have using the technique of another table, you can avoid that. You have one container on the other table, and you don't need multiple containers. And I'm going to explain to you in another session. I'm going to explain and show you how to do that. How to have how many containers you want, storing different stuff, but on another table, right? So that to avoid those container stuff. It's yeah.
Yep. So all right. So Nick would talk the rest of the day if I let him. I'm gonna have to cut him off here. We may have to like mute him or put him in timeout if we're not careful. Kyle Williams, are you there? Kyle Williams, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, you're up the bat, Kyle. Engine 1 just flamed out and died. Engine 3, are you there? Okay, show your screen, Mr. Kyle, or you want to show your face or whatever you want to do.
I was trying to get the video working.
There you go, Kyle. There you go.
Hey,
there's Kyle. Kyle's at home. It's awesome, or wherever you're at, home office somewhere. Cool. Tell us.
Yeah, I'm at the office.
So talk about your 2 sample files. Show your screen, and see if you have that problem. So let's see, Kyle. Which one are we doing first? The get JSON elements one? Is that the first one here?
I'm starting with the custom function because the custom function is used in the other file as well. I'm just going to get my data viewer up and script debugger. Okay, so all right, so just kind of step into this. Custom functions are a little awkward to demo here, so I'm just going to step in. So what I have here is I have these buttons. They have set JSON elements. So there's JSON inside the buttons, and it's going to pass that script parameter. So here it's passing the script parameter, and then it's going to post that JSON onto the desktop here on the layout. And then I have the set variables, and it's using the function set JSON get elements as variables, and then it's passing the JSON. This 0 parameter, that's for whether or not we want global.
Oops,
So that's a
I'm trying to
Boolean
move my
value.
little box. I don't know if you can like move that other way a little bit down there. Everyone can see that. So,
Oh, yeah.
So what is what's the purpose of this, right? I mean, tell me why do we care about why do we care about this? Okay, because you need to articulate.
You're about to see here in a minute.
So you're going to go. So
we're a ton of time. All right. So I was just kind of explaining the 3 parameters here. So we have our JSON. We have whether or not we want global, so it's Boolean value. And then we have a prefix. So these next couple lines are going to use that prefix, so you'll get to see that. So as I step in here, you can see right here, it's taken all these key elements, the client, the employee, all the IDs, and it just instantly creates all the variables. So as I step into the next one, so now it's taking the employees. So we have that employee prefix, and then it's employee dot, and then the variable for that section. So we have employee, and then there's all of our variables. And then we go into the next one, and then we have all of our clients. So just like that, in just 3 easy steps, I have all of these variables. So I think that's going to be really helpful. I also have another example here, just showing doing the same thing with global variables. So we have our JSON. It's going to put it onto the layout for us, so we can see it. And then right here, we got the JSON, and we have a 1 for globals, no prefix. So that gives us all of these in global variables. Next, we're using that global variable for employee, and we're using the prefix employee with the 1 for globals. So that's going to give us all the employee variables in globals. So same thing for client. So really quick, easy way to do it. So let me close that out. So just kind of show you the back end here. All right, so yeah, this is how I'm setting the JSON in the button. So that's how that's created. So when you create a script and you want to pass a parameter, you just create a JSON set element formula right there. And then in just a few easy steps, you could even have it all in one step if you want to use the let function to run all of those steps all in one step. So I think that's going to be really cool and really helpful. So here's my second file. So let me go ahead and demonstrate this. So I have, a lot of people have asked me, how do you create a time selector? So this is kind of demonstrating. I have this one here in the current table. So then you just select the little clock, and then it defaults to 7 a.m. I can scroll all the way up to 12 a.m. or I can go all the way down to 11:45 p.m. These are 15-minute intervals, which is customizable. I can then select 8 a.m. I also have the option to go down here and select clear to clear that. And then also you can use the same trick with portals. So just click a time at random. And yeah, so that's how that works. So I'm going to kind of go into the script here. And all right, so what's happening here is I'm just sending this.
Hey, Kyle, this is Christian. Before you jump into some of the nitty gritty, could you maybe go back to the first one a little bit? I think some of the people aren't moving quite as quick, and kind of give them a what's the takeaway here? What is this doing for us?
Right.
Yeah, go back to the first one. I have no idea what's going on. Right. No one. I mean, this Kyle, you got to understand, you're at a very kind of a senior level, and most people here are not at your level, and so you need to re-articulate kind of what is the problem you're trying to solve. Like, that's the first thing you do.
So this is all about passing parameters. So
parameter from script to script. Is that what you're saying, or to PSOS, or what? When you say passing,
this can be used in any script. So when you're calling a script and you have the script parameter, or you have just any JSON. All APIs use JSON. I use JSON all the time, every day, for everything. So this just kind of shows how you can create a parameter using JSON. And so each of these elements, each element has a name, each element has a value. So they're
Kyle, are you familiar with the hash function that a lot of people use?
the hash.
I only mention that because this is if people are familiar with that, you're doing the same thing, but instead of directly declaring variables, you're using the JSON. I actually do the same thing that you do here, and Art uses it quite a bit for API work.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's something I couldn't find a function anywhere in FileMaker that did this, so I went ahead and created my own function. So I can also show you custom functions. Last night I went to work on this and made a recursion version because the original was a while function, but it wasn't compatible with FileMaker 17 or 16. So in our business, we have tablets. Everybody's using FileMaker Go 16 because we have old tablets that just don't support anything newer than FileMaker 16. So I actually need a recursion version of this. So that's what I made last night. So it just takes that JSON and parses it out.
That's pretty awesome. Hey, Christian, I got a quick question. If you had to put, if I had to explain this to Bunny, and I don't think Trixie is doing this JSON stuff either yet. So if you had to explain it to Bunny or Trixie, how would you explain what he has built? And it doesn't matter. There's other variations of it. Sure. I don't particularly care. Why do I care about what this is? Why?
I think the simple takeaway, and Kyle, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, is it's one of the methods out there to pass more than one parameter. So most people learn how to pass a parameter a script and they go, this is awesome. And then one day they need to pass the second, third, fourth, or how many parameters. And there's a number of techniques to allow you to do this. Nick uses the list function. There's the hash custom function a lot of people like. And then this would be another method for doing that. Is that a fair characterization of it, Kyle?
Yeah, that is. The whole point of this, I kept working with all these APIs, and I'm like, I have like 65 parameters. I have to manually do each of these set variables, and then I need a variable client, and then I have to go use JSON get element, and then look my JSON and look at where in the JSON I need the value. So I'm looking.
Okay. So
JSON to try to get my value to populate the one variable. Then I have to do it again and again and again and again and again. So this saves a lot of time over all these set variables.
Okay, so pause just for a second. So for the people out who are fairly brand new, let me just pause this just for a moment. And Kyle, now's a great chance to get something to drink. So the issue is that when you call a script, when one script calls another script, you can pass that script a message. If the script, whether you're passing it forward or passing it backwards, you can pass a message. The message can be one string of text. It's like one little post-it note that you're going to take, and you're going to make a note on the little post-it note, and you're going to say, he's got people on here. The first person is Don, right? For example. So the analogy that I like to explain to people like Trixie and to Bunny and people like that is that this is the ball. This is your communication. You're going to tell a script to run. That script could be on your computer, could be on the server, but a FileMaker script is going to tell another script to run very loosely. And you can pass a message. So the idea is that here's your analogy. I took a Post-it note, I put it on my ball. Now this is a soccer ball. You really don't want to use hands with soccer balls, right? So imagine American football where you throw it, you're going to catch it, or rugby, right? And the idea is that you can write a message on here, but you can only write one string of text. And then you throw the ball and the other guy catches it. They're going to run the script. They take the message off and read it, right? So that's that one message you can pass. You can't pass 20 Post-it notes. So what you have to do is find a way of taking that one Post-it note and writing a bunch of stuff into that Post-it note in a logical way, so when the person gets the Post-it note on the other side, they can decode it. So he's structuring the data in such a way that allows you to create a very elaborate Post-it note and throw it through the air from one script to the next script, and the other script gets it and goes, oh, I know how to read this stuff, and it tears it all apart. As opposed to when Trixie, you do your first script parameter, you're going to pass like one word like dog or something, right? You won't pass a book of stuff like this. So that's why this is relevant to the beginning people, right? One of those moments, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I want a quick shout out for TK. There's a little bit of traffic from Photo Robertson has a question for Nick. I'm going to let you play air traffic control with that. That is like a number. I have these Nerf balls in the office that I've been known to knock computers off of walls and stuff with. I'm a big soccer fan, right? European football fan. So, as a result, this is like a number 3 or 4. I don't think they make Nerf number 5s. As it is, these things go really. Because I played keeper for many years, and I can smoke the ball.
Rick, can I show something right quick? Something that is going with this.
Yeah, you're good on time. Go ahead, Nick. Well, you have to.
Yeah.
If you want to show something, that's fine. Go ahead and jump over. But really, it's. Jake's got another demo to do, so don't take too long.
Yeah, no. 1 minute. So, it is possible to name a variable on the fly with a calculated name. For example, here I have this example here. Forget about this. I just copy paste the calculation from another file. But if you guys are interested, you know what to do, right? Is this. Okay. So let's say I want to name a variable, whatever name, my name, I want my name is Rick. Okay. So I want to name a variable that way. Okay, so I evaluate this, and now I have my name is Rick here, right? So you can name a variable the way you want, hello, whatever. You evaluate, and you have this. Where's here? Hello. This is my test I did, So you have this, hello. So you can name, you can give a calculated name of your variable, right? I don't know if that makes sense to you, but
yeah,
because
that's another advanced tip. That's
exactly
part of
how the function works.
Because normally it's not possible to calculate the name of the variable. It's a constant, it's a string, right? And you don't have a specifier. You can. So now with this technique here, you evaluate the calculation, and then in the calculation, you are making your own name of the function using the let function. Okay, look, if you guys are interested with this, this is awesome. You can name a variable out of a calculation. It can be, oh, by the way, I want this. I want my function to be the get. I want my the get username. For example, I want my variable to be the username. Look, where's my here? Nick enter. It's there. I have a variable name out of get username. Is that awesome? And I think, Carl, that will save you a lot of time in your stuff. That's why I want to jump on this.
All right. Okay, Kyle. So now,
opening up my custom function so you can see exactly what I did, and it matches exactly what you just demonstrated. So that's how you do it.
Okay. I didn't see the custom function. That's why.
There we go. So yeah, I was just kind of showing that's exactly how I did my custom function. That uses evaluate with the let function. Then it pulls in the variables for the name, and then it says equals, and then the value for that variable. So
yeah, you two solve the same problem slightly differently, but it looks good. I like that. Very smart.
Yep. Okay, so let's exit that. See if we can get to my other file here. Okay. So yeah, I wanted to kind of show how you set up these buttons. So this is the time selector buttons. And it's calling a script with a JSON variable. So in here I have the let function, and it creates a JSON. So right here is where you would map your field to any field in your file. The interval minutes that you show or that you see. So let me kind of. This will be easier if I do this a little differently. My computer's being slow. It's probably.
Yeah, you'll have to get an M1 processor according to M. Johnson.
Yeah,
because I'm using Big Sur.
It gets slow when you share on Slack. The computer is slow with Slack.
Yeah. So I have base elements here, which is, Monkey Bread Solutions, which is giving me some color here. So in here, I have a sample parameter here. So this would be your field mapping, and then interval minutes, and then the time position offset. So if I go into here, you can see all of our time. Our offset is, so the current time is 7. The offset is all this time up here. So right now I have it 1 3/4 hours. Let's bring this back up. Okay, so yeah, right here, the 6,300, that's in seconds. So that's 1 3/4 hours. I can kind of show you here. So anytime you're dealing with time in FileMaker, it's always in seconds. So divide by 60, and then divide by 60 again. This gives you the number of hours that many seconds is. So that's my offset. So that's this padding right here. Okay. All right. So right here, I'm using set variables. So JSON get element to variables. That's that custom function. It's getting the JSON parameter. It's getting local variables with no prefix. So that's what that's doing. Set variables time start. So it's parsing out that JSON. I have a error handling here. So if any of these required parameters don't show up, it's going to show me exactly what's missing. So that's handy. And then if it has anything, it immediately returns a Boolean response of 1 saying there's an error. And then here it's showing that missing parameter. Here's what's missing. So that's a little error handling right at the start there. Okay, so time current. We have a default time up here. So I set the default time to 7. So that's this right here. So you can set that default time to whatever time you want. And right here, it's looking at if that current time is empty, the field, then we're going to use the time default. Otherwise, the current time. This is another custom function that you're going to find really handy. I use it with APIs a lot, Unix time, UTC time. It'll convert it into a FileMaker timestamp. Even if it's just a date, it'll convert it into a timestamp. So, and then I created another custom function. So this is actually packed full of custom functions that are extremely helpful for anybody working with time. So round to the nearest time, and then it's using that time, and then using our variable of interval minutes to round to that nearest time. So that way, if you change your interval time to say 5 minutes or 30 minutes, it's going to round whatever time is currently in that field to the nearest time available for the time selector, and it'll show exactly that when you open it up. So then it does some math, and then so another really handy script is this one, where it gets your portal row number, and then it exits the portal row and selects the portal and gets the portal name. And then I have a little sample script right here, which you can put into your scripts. So once you've selected your portal row, it's gonna, so right here, I entered that in here, so that way it can return to that portal row and enter it in the field in the correct portal row. So.
That's cool. So basically, you kind of give it like a time range that you want with the interval between those, and then is it loading into a virtual list there, or is that a web viewer?
It's actually a virtual list. So this is an actual portal driven by a virtual list. So
that's useful.
As this is loading right here, you can see virtual list, time selection, JSON. So it's populating the JSON that it's creating here in this loop into that JSON field. And then the virtual list portal parses all that out for us and displays it. So right here I have a start position. So what that's doing is it's going into the portal and it's finding that offset. So it's actually shifting the portal all the way to the top here to 515. And then the next step will bring it, it'll select the actual row that shows our time. So whatever time we currently have entered or the default time, it's going to make that row active, which highlights it blue. So that's conditional formatting. So here's selecting the current time. Very nearly done here. I was just kind of showing how this virtual list works. Actually, it's so, just real quick. The virtual list, it's looking at the count of the JSON records, and then it's comparing that to the record within that table. So I'm just kind of showing how that virtual list functions. So there's actually 288 records in the virtual list, but you're not going to see all of those. You're only going to see the relevant ones thanks to this relationship. Just real quick, if I can close this. I wanted to demonstrate changing the time and seeing what that looks like. And that'll be the last step here. So how we change the time, so we go in here, we select this button, we go down to the parameter. And so right here, you can change this to 5 minutes. And we're going to want to change this offset so it doesn't provide too much padding above it, because we're going to have a lot more rows when we run this. Okay, so to that, we exit the layout back to browse mode. And then when we open it up, we're actually seeing 5-minute intervals instead of 15. So that's how easy it is to adjust that, depending on what kind of selections you need to offer. You can do 1 minute, you can do 30 minutes. You can change that to whatever you want. And the last thing, just kind of show you the custom functions that come with this. So I have, this will convert any timestamp or any time or any date into an official FileMaker timestamp, which you can use in any solution anywhere, and then you can just use get as time or get as date to that timestamp that it results. It also offers the offset for time zones. If you want to include seconds, it'll round to the nearest second. So it'll cut off the milliseconds because those are hardly useful. So, and then there's a JSON get as element variable as variables. And then round to nearest time is these 3 functions work identical. I created them all a couple days ago. So basically it just takes your time and then it rounds to the nearest 5 minutes, 15 minutes, or whatever minutes you want to put in there. So rounds up or down to the nearest. And then I have this one that uses the floor function, and this one uses the ceiling function. Time format as is a really handy function. This is the only one I didn't actually create, but it takes the time and then it returns it in a text field as 12-hour format or military time 24-hour format. So just kind of a handy function that I like to use. I thought that might be helpful for everyone. So that's it.
Very, very, very cool. So we're a little bit over time on Kyle's section here. We need to push forward with Jake's section. Kyle, it's great, good samples. Kyle, we've had a number of good sample files he's put together. Once again, as a reminder for everyone, if you're, we posted the links to Discord, Twitch, and YouTube. Very engaged group today. For those of you, a reminder, if you're a brand new FileMaker developer, you're going to want to, if you're a brand new FileMaker developer, you're going to want to check out tomorrow's broadcast. But if you're kind of one of the people that are here on a routine basis, definitely no need to show up. Tomorrow is for brand new people. Once again, kind of a different tack than today. Today's a open Q&A day, and anytime that I invite Jake and Kyle in the same session and Nick kind of popping around the periphery, what happens is that it gets very advanced really quick, and then it's like which developer can out confuse the other developer and make it more complicated. So it's a case of I can name that tune. I can like confuse your ass in 30 seconds, right? So there, it's the Tricks. Hello. Is that Mom? Is that Amy back there too?
Yeah, Amy's hiding in the corner.
All right, well, she's not hiding very well. We can see her. So this is 3 of the people here that watch us through the live streams. Christian's been interacting with them somewhat, and so it's pretty awesome. Jake, you want to show us your screen, and you and Christian can walk us through what we're doing here?
Yeah, sounds great. So yeah, this was originally inspired actually from one of your guys' demos you put out about 1.5 years ago. I've got a link to your guys' YouTube video in my demo file for that, for the multi-record selection. And that's just selecting records in a list or a portal and then saving them to a global variable. So they all get stored in the selected record IDs variable. So the idea here is you're looking at a list or a portal of records. And then here, let's go over to the demo. So I imported 500 records from Brian Dunning's free sample data on his website, and then just some example contacts with a city, state, and then I added a type to a bunch of them. So we can select records here, and I've got them sub-summarized by city, state, and by type. And then I've got the same script on all of these sub-summary parts. And then I can select the records or deselect the records for whatever given sub-summary that I click on. And then I could select an individual record if I wanted to, and select and deselect all records. And then from there, you've got them stored in that global variable. So we can, do a go to related records on those and view the ones that we selected. I've got a client that they'll select invoices that they're applying to a payment. They'll select all the ones that they want to apply, click apply, and it'll loop through the selected records to then create line items for that. So a lot of different uses that I've been able to do for this. Going under the hood, seeing how it works, made a few custom functions in here. So this first chunk of them came from your guys's demo, the add remove list items to select individual records. The ones that I created are the IDs from sub-summaries, values are equal, and sub-summary is selected. So values are equal, we'll just compare two lists, and it'll return true if both lists equal each other. If they have the same values, it'll sort them, filter out any duplicates, and get rid of any white space to be sure that both
I have a
lists are equal.
question. I have a question.
Yeah, of course.
Christian, feel free to. No, don't come back. I was asking a question right about that. Go back.
Yep.
Values are equal. Isn't that what the unique function for lists is? And that came out, I guess it's 18 or whenever they came out.
I'm pretty sure I use unique values in here.
Oh, you are.
So
okay.
I use unique values, and then I also removed, this is another custom function that removes any white space. It removes carriage returns if there's any extras. And then I also sort the values to make sure they're in the right order. I noticed one time I tried doing it and they were the same values, but they weren't in the correct order. So it was telling me that they weren't equal. It was giving me false. So that's where this kind of came from.
Okay, so this is a custom, because you were describing a custom function that sounded a lot like the definition of what unique values does, right? So, or when you, well, what is it?
I think I initially had just unique values.
Just
actually.
unique values.
Before
okay.
I didn't even have the custom function, but
okay.
something with unique values wasn't doing it for me. There was some extra carriage returns that got it added in.
Yeah.
And like I said, they were sorted the wrong way. So I had to put the sort on both of those.
You've got to tear this apart recently. I have not. So that's why I have Nick here to make me always look great. My job is to play air. I spend as much time playing air traffic control as anything else. So. And it's a full-time job. Trust me on that. So then Jay Monhan 54 is there. Welcome. Yeah, a lot of crazy people. So keep going. You're doing great.
By the way, this is very clever because I do that typically using a filter value kind of stuff, but I don't quite get a good result with this. But unique value is kind of a new in 18, right?
I think it was 18. Yeah, it's fairly new.
So that's a great thing. That's a great technique. I'm going to steal it.
Thanks, Nick.
Well, if Nick
an
steals,
honor to hear from you.
If Nick steals you're in good shape. So that's good.
Yeah, no doubt.
Trixie and Amy can stay in the room. Jake's ego's probably blowing up right now.
Yeah, you better pop that pop that thing.
Good feeling.
There we go.
I'm really proud of this.
It's a good demonstration of how you must get updated yourself. You know what I mean? Because there's a new unique value stuff coming up. And then that means now we have a new way to do something we were doing before, right? But much simpler. So that means we improve the thing. That's great. That's great.
Awesome.
Sorry, I mute myself.
You're fine. All right, so IDs from sub-summary, I'm even more proud of this one. I didn't know the get summary function existed for a while, and as soon as I found it, I thought, hey, I bet I could make a dynamic selector for this. So that's where this came from. It does rely on you having a field in your database in any table you want to use this with. That is a summary field. That's a list of primary key. So then you can pass in, I name them all the same in all of my tables. So you can do whatever your naming convention is for list of ID here. And then it uses the get summary field And get summary wants you to pass 2 parameters. It wants the summary field that you want the data for. So this is where that list of ID goes. And then it wants the break field for the, the field that the subsummary is sorted by. So we pass that in as the second parameter. And then this function will return a list of primary keys for whatever subsummary you clicked on. And then my last custom function, the subsummary is selected, actually uses both of these other custom functions. It's basically comparing the list of IDs that are in the subsummary that you clicked on with the IDs that are already selected. So it uses filter values on the selected record IDs to check the records that you clicked on and compares that to make sure they're equal or not equal. And then this is used in the scripts and on the conditional formatting that's actually on the button. So you could take a look at some of the scripts now, what these actually do. So all you need to pass, so I've got my select all subsummary script, and all that needs to get passed to that is get field name of my subsummary field. So this one is for state. So I pass in get field name of state for this one, for that subsummary part. And then it uses
Jake, one thing I just want to give you credit that I really like that you do, and I've noticed in here and the custom functions, is the commenting.
Thank you.
You've got good documentation.
I object. The commenting sucks. It's purple. I can't read that. What is that?
Well, that's
that's my dark mode.
All right. Well, this is okay. Let me help you with your official grade, Jake. You ready for this? Here we go. F minus.
Oh man.
I can't read this. What is that?
That's fair. That's fair. Well, I use dark mode because light mode attracts bugs.
Wait. You have like a roach problem or something. So I'm gonna buy you some Raid spray so you can spray or some mosquito off or something.
That's okay, Jake. I like dark mode too, but I learned in the streams I have to turn it to switch over to the wrong side.
Yeah, Christian got in trouble for that about a year ago. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, we're trying to learn the ways of the Sith over here.
Sith.
So continue with your script. I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
I just switched over to light mode for you. Now all my comments are gone.
Oh, now they're there. Okay, now we can read it.
Awesome. So really the one real script step that it does is we're changing the selected record IDs, and I capture in variables using those custom functions, the subsummary from IDs. So that'll have the list of all the IDs that are in there. And toggle is basically whether or not they're all already selected or not. And then I use filter values out to either remove the values from the list, or there might be a better way to do this, but I just append them and then unique values so that I don't have any duplicates. So I just add all the IDs that are in there to the ones that are already selected.
Yeah, just if I can add something.
Stand by, Nick. All right, so we have to go to the judges now. It's like the mysterious voice, right? Mysterious singer. Nick, all right, judge.
Yeah, just 10 seconds. Just for the people to understand, this technique here, all those techniques when we use values, filter values, IDs and stuff like that, filter IDs and stuff, all of this works because we use UUIDs as keys. Because some people ask me, why do you use UUID all the time, and why you don't use the old, or prehistoric kind of serial number? Because okay, I cannot explain here why.
You don't have an hour. Leave it to me. I'll handle
exactly.
that.
But it's that we don't use serial numbers as IDs anymore. Okay, we don't. So
yes, we do. Yes, we do. No, that's why you can't make blanket statements like that, right? So.
No, I mean, if you want to use if you want to use stuff like this,
here we go. You just about tell me I'm gonna suck, Nick, and I'm in 1930. I'm using it. That's what happened Monday, and it had to get cut out, right? Remember?
No,
So
I mean, no. If you want to use stuff like that, with serial number is not as it's much more difficult.
Yeah, then if you have contact 100 and contact 1000, you'll end up trying to find 100, and you'll find everyone in the thousands.
yeah, that's a correct problem. Once again, this is we use it for training, right? And this is a training channel. And once again, all you snotty advanced developers who think your noses are up in the air because you're too good for everyone, you're too good for regular serial numbers because you're just so special. But the rest of us, like Bunny and me, need very simple relationships so we can see them connect. That's how we understand.
Yes, but the creation of the getting an ID, a parent ID to be a UUID is so freaking simple.
Okay, Nick, it's not Nick. I'm not going to debate it with you. Okay.
Okay.
Right. You lose this conversation. Okay.
Okay.
It's when you're teaching people about relationships and you're trying to connect two sides of a relationship and explain to them what the hell a relationship even is. If you give them a UUID, their little heads explode. Right. So,
okay, you win. Okay, you win. Bye bye.
Yeah, right. That's right. So once we get past that point and they move into being more of an intermediate developer, that some of you here are basic beginning people, and that's a really important concept to understand. Is that there's advanced techniques that are being shown here, and if it blows your brain, if it pickles your ravioli or whatever the hell Nick says, then if you pickle your ravioli, then yeah, I understand that. So we do serial numbers initially so you understand what a relationship is and how it even connects and what connects it and why. And then once we kind of move beyond that, then UUIDs are fine, right? UUIDs are a randomized 32-bit, whatever it is, string of stuff that theoretically will never be repeated, hopefully. And so once again, I have to kind of caveat this with that a little bit. So a lot of these are advanced techniques you're seeing today, which is fine. Just understand if you're a bunny grade person, and you're confused, then yeah, I understand that. So yeah, I feel your pain. So what do you got, Kyle?
Sorry, I just seen a question. Agent Chevy I see more than 3 records selected. That's because this Fairbanks one is actually a sub-summary, not a record. So the only ones that are selected are Penny, Gail, and Eric. So there's 3 selected here.
Yeah, this is a legit portal right here, or is this a list view? What are we looking at here?
This is a list view. You, of course, can't do a sub-summary in a portal. This will work in a portal, too. Just don't try to put the sub-summary script on them.
Right. Yeah, but you can always fake your sub-summaries with portals and do stuff like that. That's portal trees and stuff like that.
Technique would work in a virtual list that has like a... No, not for the sub-summary portion.
All right, cool. Well, I part of my conversation, part of my effort here is to make sure that people that are new to the platform aren't instantly and totally lost without any hope, lost at sea without any hope of rescue, and that's my job, is to rescue them. So then when Nick comes to you and says, unless you have a motorboat on your boat, you're going to die, right? Which is basically what he said just now. If you don't do UUID, you will die and burn in hell. Yeah, that's useful when you hit kind of more intermediate level skill set, which is clearly.
Yeah, I tried to make this as bunny certified as I can with all those.
This is not bunnyable. This is not bunnyable. So it's just not.
Yeah.
But when people say the problem is that senior engineers tend to Nick talks in absolutes. If you don't do it this way, you're gonna explode and burn. And the problem is yes and no, right? So for example. We are forking starting point, our CRM. That's kind of the last comment. We'll be wrapping it up here. And the stripped down version of starting point, which is primarily for training, is going to use the standard serial numbers because it works just fine for that. But as you begin to do more advanced things, like the full CRM, we're using UUIDs because there's benefits that you're starting to see here. But at the bunny level, they're really 2 different tracks. Why we had to fork starting point, because one product cannot be a training product and a serious CRM at the same time because they're going 2 different places, right? So it was difficult to make the decision to do that because I have to sit and write a check and take out money and start paying people to fork it. Every time someone has a great idea, they expect me to write a check and pay for it, which frequently is why when people come to me with the most amazing idea ever, and you're going to be a billionaire when you're done if you do this, Richard, I'm like, all right, not sure. So, all right, Nick, any final comments from UUID, or you're going to die at sea, lonely alone?
you're not going to die. You're going to shock. That's it.
You're gonna
No,
be
I mean,
okay.
no, I mean,
You're
you're
gonna
right.
bring a little water on board.
You're right on this one. It's okay.
I'm going to get a life vest. Whenever it gets deep out here, I'm just going to start. You see me putting on a life vest and drinking adult beverages. I need like a emergency life vest. So when I'm floating in the ocean, and Nick's doing Nicky type stuff. So and Kyle, of course, Kyle's like past. You go right by Nick, and it's like, and if you do this and this, and all the bunny people there, they're like, it's like the first Indiana Jones movie where the people's faces melt. So the bunnies are all melting and just melted. They're dead. So
yeah, but the problem is all the bunnies people now, they want to know about UUID. So at the end, we win.
Well, eventually you get there. You just can't get there on day one, right? So, all right, cool. Well, welcome to, and that also screams the need to actually fork the training to a basic live stream and then to a more intermediate advanced live stream. And the rub with that is someone's got to write a check, and yeah, I don't know. So
I've got one last thing I wanted to show.
Oh, you just pulled a Kyle. You just pulled a Kyle. I got one more thing. All right, fine. Just keep going. I'm gonna get out my adult beverage now.
Well, this is a short one.
Nah,
this
sure.
is a short
Go
one.
ahead.
So this is just something that Christian actually helped me a lot with as far as actually getting the demo installed. I've got a script here that if anyone is writing any add-ons, this save as add-on script saves a file that's stored in a container field to temporary storage, and then opens the file, saves it as an add-on, and closes the file, and then handles any errors it might run into with installing the file. So this has been a really awesome script just for getting the add-on installed on your device. That again, Christian helped me out with that. So shout out to him.
Jake,
really
don't try to pass the buck here. So I gave Jake my same add-on installer, which is multiple files in a folder. And Jake did more similar to what Art did, but it's kind of that happy in between where Art's is really complicated and mine's too simple. And what Jake's got there is that container that he puts the add-on in. So instead of having two files, he's got one. I'm going to be stealing exactly what he has there to improve my installers. So the credit goes where it deserves, Jake. You did good on this one.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right.
And yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. Thank you guys so much for having me on. This has been awesome. A lot of fun sharing this with you.
It's all good, bro. You just tell me when you're done.
I am all wrapped up. That's it.
Oh, well.
Oh, I noticed when I installed this too, the styles never come over on the checkbox for some reason. But other than that, it all works.
All right, cool.
It uses the style in the source, like with a file that you go to, if I'm not mistaken. So like my most recent add-ons, I've actually been making them with the starting point theme and styles, because I know that more often than not, that's probably where it's going to go. But I think that's kind of what happens there.
All right, well, that's it for today. We'll see everyone on Monday on a normal schedule with Nick. Nick, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Are you sure? You're ready to go on Monday? Or are you going to have to prep this weekend? Are you ready?
To prep a little bit this weekend. I start yesterday, but it will be an interesting week. But at least you need to attend on Monday, because Monday I will tell a lot of things on Monday.
Okay, so if you and there'll be a lot of Nick's leaving a lot of time in for question and answer. I think this is a much bigger topic. He forgot how. I remember shooting this course with him about 4 years ago, because it really hasn't changed in 4 or 5 years. And
No, I didn't.
And so you shot it, and then I reshot it, because at the time no one could understand your verbal skills, right? And then decimating your ravioli or whatever. I'm gonna get some ravioli in here and a life vest. I need both those things. So all right, so that's it for today. Appreciate everyone. See ya.
Bye.
And the guys just stepped up the whole way. Calm, cool, collected the quarterback. Great read, good patience. More importantly, great job up front protecting this quarterback to give you a chance. And that's all you can ask for.
Trying to rally down 10. 9:25 to go here in the fourth. Short motion by Amendola from the left. Brady takes the shotgun snap. Stands in, throws it left for Amendola. Reaches up and snacks a high throw and lands inside the 10. Rolling to the 9. Ball slightly behind him, but Danny makes the grab.